All right, everyone, happy Saturday. Thanks so much for joining us here on Weather Impact Live. I'm 10 Tampa Bay meteorologist Courtney Jacobazzi. I'm in for James Gregorio today. Unfortunately, he got stuck in all that nasty weather going on in the Northeast. Clearly not nasty weather here in the Bay Area. It is beautiful. And of course, as always, joining me, we have First Coast News meteorologist Lee Southwick, who also has some beautiful weather on the opposite coast to tell everyone about. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. I mean, I'm great because I love weather like this. And usually Saturday mornings, James and I talk about how we disagree. I'm all for the warm weather. He's all for the cold weather. So I hope he's really enjoying it right now in the Northeast. I know you and I are going to talk more about that in a couple of minutes towards the end of the stream. But how are you doing and how was your whole Christmas week?
Oh, it was wonderful. Spent time with some family. It was great to have family visit. They all live in Georgia, so they kind of escaped the cold and got to enjoy the beautiful beaches with us. So it was really wonderful. And I know you recently got married. I'm not sure if you've talked about this on a past stream or not, but late congratulations to you, because that is so fun. I imagine the holiday was a little extra special this year.
Thank you. Yes, it was. I got to tell you, I'm so tired because I feel like I haven't fully come down from that adrenaline, because it was stay running, keep going, holidays coming up, got to keep shopping, all of that stuff. But honestly, just the best month of my entire life. So thank you so much.
Oh, good. And 2026 will only be better. And that's right around the corner for all of us. Of course, I can't believe it's less than a week away now. And we have some colder weather across the area on the way for the new year, which, we were probably hoping for Christmas, but it's okay if it comes a little bit late. 2026 is going to ring in pretty cold for all of us.
It is. So that's why, I think whether you want the warm weather or the cold weather, you and I both have a little bit of everything for everyone in our forecast. So
Totally.
I guess I'll just kick it off if that's good with you.
Yep, go for it.
All right. So let's start with a look around the First Coast. It's not the prettiest of days because we do have some cloud cover out there. We had a lot of sunshine earlier this morning in St. Augustine, but now you can see even the clouds moving in there because those clouds are drifting from north to south. So kind of more overspreading our area, as you can see on satellite. But we might have a bit of clearing for places like Brunswick and Waycross here soon. But throughout the day, just expect a mix of sun and clouds. Temperatures warming up. No surprise there. Another very warm day in store for us. Highs will be getting into the upper 70s for a lot of us. So currently sitting in the 70s, except for Lake City and St. Augustine in the 60s. Now today, here's your high temperatures, middle to upper 70s. I don't think as many of us will reach the 80s today because of that cloud cover, but still, this is unseasonably warm weather. So looking hour by hour, temperatures get up into the 70s and then slowly drop this evening through the 70s into the 60s. Of course, we do have the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl here in Jacksonville, really right across the street from First Coast News. We're going to have that forecast coming up in a couple of minutes. We'll break it down for you a little bit more. But moving along, because we have a lot to talk about Sunday, another unseasonably warm day, getting into the upper 70s yet again. And you know what? We're just going to do it again on Monday. In fact, let's tack on a few degrees. I do think more of us could even move into the low 80s on the First Coast here on Monday. It's going to be breezy. That wind will pick up out of the southwest 10 to 20 miles an hour. And there's a chance of rain there. It's not a washout. 30% coverage of showers, a few weak showers, but all of that, the wind, the rain, it's all associated with our next front. So that rain will move through Monday evening ahead of our next front, and then temperatures are going to significantly drop. You will notice a huge plummet in our temperatures from the 80s on Monday afternoon to the 30s on Tuesday morning, and our wind chills could even be in the 20s. So here's a look at our wind chills Tuesday morning. 20s and 30s. I think most of us will be in the 30s, but occasionally those winds gusting enough to drop those wind chills into the 20s for our inland spots Tuesday morning. And then Tuesday afternoon, we are going to stay in the 50s, and our wind chill will keep us in the 50s and even the 40s for some of you. And then that evening, we're going to be dropping down into feels like temperatures in the 30s quickly. And that's a big evening here in Jacksonville because we have the Jonas Brothers coming to town. The last concert at Daly's Place, too, for a couple of years. So our temperatures for the Jonas Brothers concert falling through the 40s, but you saw there earlier, we will be feeling like the 30s. Then that night, temperatures actual air temperatures could drop down into the 20s for a lot of us. So this is Wednesday morning, and that is New Year's Eve morning, 20s and 30s, and wind chills in the 20s for even more of us. So that is why we have issued a weather impact alert for Wednesday morning, because wind chills in the 20s can be dangerous if you're not appropriately dressed or prepared. If your skin is exposed to wind chills in the 20s for too long, it can get dangerous. So please bundle up, be dressed appropriately. If you're out and about on your Wednesday morning, make sure the pets come inside, make sure the people in your life have a way to stay warm, and any sensitive plants, of course, need to be coming inside as well. So that is, again, Wednesday morning. Wednesday afternoon, we're staying in the 50s, and Wednesday night is a really big night. That's when we're ringing in the new year. Temperatures dropping through the 40s down into the 30s around midnight. So you do need to be bundled up as we ring in 2026. And then it's a chilly start to the new year. Temperatures near freezing for a lot of us again Thursday morning. Thursday afternoon, we're going to be staying in the 60s. So big picture here shows us 7-day forecast shows us the next 3 days are going to be very warm. And then Courtney, that big cool down coming for us here in the Jacksonville area, Northeast Florida, Southeast Georgia. How cold are you all getting in the Tampa Bay area?
So not quite that cold, but we'll be in the 30s to low 40s, which for this area is definitely cold. We also have weather impact alerts for that. And then it's just the wind. We know that makes such a big difference. The wind chill is what, of course, matters most, because that's what it feels like to us. And yeah, those are going to be pretty rough for everyone's New Year's Eve plans. Normally, I feel like New Year's Eve this time of year, we're not super, I mean, it does get cold this time of year here, but New Year's Eve in Florida, we're usually like, okay, we can just go out in our dresses and our tank tops, whatever. No, everyone's going to need the jackets with all the sparkly outfits this time of year, because it's going to get cold here too for everybody. Now, while you're dealing with
I do have a sparkly jacket that I might have to break out.
You need to wear that on air if you're working on New Year's Day or even New Year's Eve. You have to wear it.
I think it would, I feel like I tried that once and it reflected the color, and so it went green, so I kind of went see-through on the green screen.
Yeah, see, we have the video wall, so we have a little more flexibility in terms of what we can wear. We can actually wear green without looking like a floating head, so that's always a lot of fun.
I'm jealous.
Yes, it has its perks, that's for sure, although I'm 5'1" every single day of the week, so I always look so little next to those video walls. So they're always so big, you know, you can only do so much with them. But yeah, you guys have all the cloud cover out there. We had the fog this morning, so that's kind of been our tricky part of our forecast lately, and get ready for more of that. And for us here, we get a lot of the sea fog this time of year, Lee, and a lot of people naturally are down here on vacation trying to get out and do boating, and they leave so early on some of those early morning trips and everything. So that's definitely been an issue for us with all of the folks trying to get out and about. But thankfully, that usually clears by around 10. Everyone can get out and enjoy, and that's kind of what we're seeing here right now. Just a beautiful day out there. I think that area of high pressure is just far enough south that you're not really reaping the benefits of it this morning.
Unfortunately, a little dreary or gray for us here locally.
Yeah, it is. And you guys have tons going on. Thankfully, not going to be a washout. Jonas Brothers concert. I have someone in this building whose fiance is the biggest Jonas Brothers fan I think you know. Are you going to that, Sean? No, he's not. Okay. Well, that's exciting. Are you going to the concert?
Bummer. I am actually going to be in your neck of the woods for New Year's because I have a wedding to go to in St. Pete.
Very fun. Very fun. Well, bring your sparkly jacket with you because you're going to need it. It's going to be
absolutely.
So cold. We'll take you through the forecast. High pressure and control today. It is going to be beautiful out there here in the Bay Area. So if you're coming to our side of the coast, it is just going to be gorgeous. Tons of sunshine. We're already seeing out there. Look at Clearwater Beach. Every time I see this and I'm at work, I envy every single person that's sitting on that shoreline. Just beautiful. The water is glass. Tons of people out enjoying whether the water or the coastline. Just gorgeous. It looks more like spring break than it does winter break out there right now. Temperature at 72 in Clearwater Beach, so it's pretty comfy. Now the water's cold. That water temperature is only like 67 degrees or something like that. So if anyone is in the water right now, they're not native Floridians because that is cold to us native Floridians. Next 12 hours, we'll show you tons of sunshine. It continues all day long, so from start to finish, just a really nice afternoon. We'll top out in the mid to upper 70s today, so it'll be very similar to yesterday, if not just a little warmer. The fog this morning didn't stick around quite as long as yesterday, so I do think the sun will help warm us just a touch more today. And as we head into the evening hours, temperatures are going to drop into the mid to upper 60s. So if you are planning on staying out a little later tonight, a light layer, maybe not a bad idea. I know personally personally, I was out after sunset last night and it got a little chilly once the sun set. So probably not a bad idea to bring that with you. Some of you will top out in the low 80s today, specifically inland, our inland communities where you don't have that natural sea breeze. It is going to warm a little more. You also didn't have quite as much fog this morning. So you'll top out at 80 in places like Frostproof, Plant City, Sebring, Arcadia, Wauchula, low 80s, generally low to mid 70s closer to the coast. And that's where we did see a lot of that fog develop earlier today. So just not going to get the chance to warm up quite as much, but that's okay. Still a really pleasant evening. If you want to get out on the water today, great day to do some boating. That marine forecast is perfect. It is just glassy out there. Smooth water on the bay, about a foot seas, if that, throughout the day today. There's that Gulf temperature, 68 degrees. It went up a degree now that the sun's been up for a little while, but still, that feels comfortable to us on land, not necessarily out in the water. Just something to keep in mind if you're heading to the beach. Overnight tonight, lows back in the 50s to near 60 with that widespread fog again. So we do have a weather impact alert for tomorrow morning because of that fog that is likely to develop. We're going to have really light wind, and then when the temperatures cool, our waters are at least still warm enough. We generally do get that fog to develop. Now, this is showing widespread fog. I do think closer to some of our waterways we'll see the most fog. The hot spots have kind of been the Nature Coast. Naturally, there's a lot of rivers up there closer to the Bay Area, and then also south of town, all along the 75 corridor has kind of been our hot spot lately. So here's a look tomorrow morning. You can see a handful of those numbers turning red there. That's an indication that the dense fog is developing, and then that clears by around 10 o'clock. Now tomorrow, models are showing a little more of that sea fog developing. So again, that's just something to keep in mind if you had any boating plans. That fog can really come on thick really quickly, and that can of course create some dangerous conditions out on the water because you can't see very far in front of you. So just make sure if you are planning on doing any boating the next couple of mornings that you have all the proper lights working on your boat before you head out. Going into Monday, 9 o'clock, a lot of people going back to work after what I call adult winter break because everyone has off during the winter season. We are going to have more widespread fog develop. In fact, I do think that the fog will be even more dense on Monday. Our wind's going to start to shift a little more southerly, so that's just going to pump in a little more moisture ahead of our front. And with temperatures cooling back generally into the upper 50s to low 60s, I do think Monday we will have some trouble spots out there as you're getting back to work. And then that lifts around 11. It's kind of the same general time frame every single day. 2 a.m. to about 10 a.m. is when we'll have the worst fog, Sunday and Monday. Tomorrow afternoon, really nice, mid to upper 70s, lots of sunshine once we get rid of the fog in the morning, and then changes on the way early in the week. Just like Jacksonville, they're going to get the rain and the cooler temperatures early in the week. So are we, except our timing's a little different. Our rain chance lower because I do think this front's going to move in a little bit later. So for most of you, you're not going to be impacted by the rain, and our rain chance is low nonetheless. Around 9 o'clock, this moves into the Nature Coast, so Citrus, Hernando, Pasco County, and then moves into the Bay Area after about 10 o'clock at night, and ultimately fizzles apart as it moves south of I-4 into early Tuesday morning. So a few very early morning showers possible on Tuesday. The reason for our warm and dry weather we've had this really strong ridge of high pressure in the upper levels, and that's been keeping the jet stream to our north. A very active weather pattern to the north, clearly causing all the things like snow and ice out to the northeast. And of course, the west has had the atmospheric river, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But that finally breaks down Monday and allows the cold air to usher in. We'll have this deep trough of cool air dig in across the southeast to bring us some cold air just in time to say goodbye to 2025 and hello to 2026. Here's a look at the high temperatures. So we're going to go from well above average. I call this weather whiplash. We're going to go from well above average, our average high 72, to below average by Tuesday, 10 degrees below average, in fact. Look at that high temperature Tuesday, 62 degrees. So yeah, it's going to get quite cold, especially compared to where we have been. And even Wednesday morning, beyond Tuesday, when that cold air really settles in, low to mid 30s along the Nature Coast. So we do have a weather impact alert for Wednesday. More than likely, we'll have some of those cold weather shelters opening Wednesday, especially along the Nature Coast. 40s across the Bay Area, a lot of 30s inland as well. Closer to the water, obviously, you're going to be a little bit warmer. That water keeps you a little more insulated, but still a cold start to Wednesday. So just make sure that you are getting those jackets back out after our really pleasant and warm weather. Of course, with a front coming in, that's also going to pick up the wind. So wind chill is definitely going to be a factor for us. Notice Tuesday morning, there it is from Pensacola to Jacksonville, feeling more like the upper 20s to low 30s. Here at home, it'll feel more like the mid 30s to near 40 stepping out the door Tuesday morning. But take a look, as that wind continues to build in the afternoon and the cold air starts to move in, it's going to struggle to feel warmer than the low to mid 50s throughout the entire day. So all day long on Tuesday, it's going to be jacket worthy. It's definitely going to be chilly from start to finish on Tuesday. And then as we head into Wednesday morning, this is when it is going to be the coldest. So it's going to feel more like the low 30s across the area. So near or below freezing wind chills on the way Wednesday morning. Got to get ready for that. And going into 2026, midnight, here's a look. If you have any New Year's Eve celebration plans, this is what you need to prepare for. And this is without the wind chill, by the way, which the wind will die down by Thursday at midnight. But still, even just a light wind when the air is so dry and cold like that can make a difference. it's going to be in the 30s in a lot of our inland communities. 40s for Tampa, Clearwater, Bradenton, Sarasota, closer to the water. So kind of along that 75 corridor. It'll be a little warmer, but still definitely cold. You are going to need to prepare for that. Have the jackets with you. There's a lot of sales going on this weekend, guys. Go take advantage of them. Go get yourself a nice, cute jacket to wear with your outfit on New Year's Eve. The jacket doesn't have to ruin the outfit. It can elevate it. And then take a look. Our overnight low temperatures are going to stay cooler all the way into the upcoming weekend. So or the next weekend, I should say. So we'll wake up in the mid 40s Friday, January 2nd, and then Saturday near 50. And then our temperatures go back kind of near normal, low to mid 50s going into next weekend. So our cool down will last for a few days. We'll take it. We'll enjoy it while we can because we've had some abnormally warm weather. It's a little bit of a roller coaster, but as Lee was saying earlier, a little bit of something for everyone. 7-day forecast will show you high temperatures in the mid to upper 70s all weekend long. Those weather impact alerts for that widespread morning fog that we're anticipating with the light wind and our temperatures cooling pretty nicely overnight, but still really warm. That cold front moves in Monday night into Tuesday. Low end rain chance associated with that. It'll be breezy and cold on Tuesday. Temperatures in the 60s, but feeling cooler. And then as we head into New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, waking up in the 30s to low 40s Wednesday, mid 40s Thursday. I still think we could have a few 30s out there again on Thursday, and high temperatures will generally stay in the 60s. Friday is going to be really beautiful. While the morning's going to be cold, high temperature near 70 degrees, low humidity, tons of sunshine. I think that's going to feel great for any of your Friday plans. Of course, we have the Bolts game tomorrow night. We're going to get into some of the sporting events forecasts here in the next couple of minutes because we have some big games here in the Bay Area. I know over in Jacksonville, you guys have some big games going on as well, but the Buccaneers have quite a feat in front of them in case no one's following football, or if you are following football, you do know that the Buccaneers have to win these next two games in order to stay in playoff contention. So we have to beat the Dolphins tomorrow at 1 o'clock, and then we play the Panthers again, but at home. So we have home field advantage next time. We have to beat them in order to stay in playoff standings. And we'll keep an eye on the weather, of course, for that. But even if you're heading to Miami on Sunday, the forecast looks really comfortable for that. So that'll be really wonderful. Not many times a year you can go down to Miami and not feel like you're sweating the whole time. So it'll be a nice forecast for that. But in the meantime, enjoy the beautiful weather here at home. Going to be nice and warm and dry until we get the cool off next week. A little bit of something for everybody, though. So, all right, Lee, you guys have some big events going on over in Jacksonville as well. You said there's one right across the stadium. I know that stadium very well. I am an avid Georgia, Florida. My husband's a big Georgia fan, so we have to say Georgia, Florida. I'm an avid Georgia, Florida fan goer. So every year we go over and enjoy that game. It's always a spectacle. But I know that stadium stays busy all year round.
It does. You know, if you come visit for Florida, Georgia next year, come by the station.
Yeah.
My family and I do a big tailgate here, and so you'll have to join us. You'll just tell your husband you'll be surrounded by all Florida fans.
And we're used to it when we go down. We saw Mike Prangley last year, and they were all Florida Gators fans. So we stuck out like sore thumbs, but that's okay. We're loyal to our team.
It's okay. There are Georgia fans here too in this building that work here. You know, we just don't talk on that day. No, I'm just kidding.
Right, exactly.
It's all friendly. And it's such a fun day of the year. Now you got me reminiscing on it. And I feel like the weather that day too, back in October, well, I guess it was November 1st that it was on,
right after
was
Halloween.
cooler than it is today.
Yeah, it was chilly. I mean, it ended up being one of the most perfect days we've had in a while for that game. I mean, we've had some years where it has been just stifling hot, but this year it was just picture perfect. Nice and cool morning, perfect temperature in the afternoon.
I totally agree. And, you know, there's a big game there tonight. Like you said, it's right across the street from our station. So I actually have a live look of it now. This camera sits on top of First Coast News, and it looks out at Everbank Stadium. And yes, there's some cloud cover out there, as we've already been talking about this morning. But of course, everyone prepping for the big game later on today, the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl with kickoff at 7:30. So if you are heading out there earlier, temperatures will be falling through the 70s, middle 70s down into the lower 70s. And then, excuse me, let me not jump ahead to Sunday. We want to talk about tonight. Supposed to have there we go. Here's your Tax Slayer Gator Bowl forecast. Of course, we have Virginia and we have Mizzou. And at 7:30, I think our temperatures here right on the river at the bank will be in the upper 60s already. We'll be falling through the 60s during the game. A little bit of a breeze out of the west around 5 miles an hour. Not too bad. Still partly cloudy out there as well. But overall, what we have been saying all morning on Good Morning Jacksonville is this is Florida football weather. I kept saying that this is comfortably cool weather. I am sure anyone who's visiting from up north is laughing at me for calling the 60s cool, but as we all know, this is cool. 60s is a cool temperature, so it should be fairly comfortable out there. And if you are a local going to the game, I do suggest a light jacket, but I know people from up north enjoying this game think the weather's beautiful. We saw them out yesterday. There's a big tailgate kind of kickoff pep rally. A lot of people were not wearing their jackets while I was bundled up. So anyway, I think it's great weather for anyone visiting or locals here alike. Should be really comfortable. Now, we do have some locals traveling north to Indy for the Colts game. Jags take on the Colts tomorrow at 1 p.m. And not to brag to all you Bucs fans, but we are absolutely in the playoffs already. Woohoo! Still, we are so excited to watch our game. Temperatures will be in the 60s. So not too bad, honestly. There could be some showers around, and it will be windy. Gusts could be up to around 30 miles an hour, but we are in the 60s for that game. And if you are a Floridian at that game, get out as fast as possible. That is a front that will be moving through, bringing the 30s mile per hour wind gusts, bringing the showers, and then on Monday, significantly cooler. The high temperature on Monday will stay in the 20s. You're gonna have snow and 20s, so that's a real shock to the system. But you come back here, and then of course we have our own shock to the system, as we've already talked about, with those temperatures dropping down quickly. So I know in Tampa there's a big bowl game coming up. Is it Vandy and Iowa? What do you guys have going on? And of course the Bucs game too.
Right. Yeah. We've had a couple of bowl games here the last couple of weeks. I know we had one with North Carolina in town. I believe it was last weekend. So we've had a lot going on in terms of bowl games here. But we do have, of course, I think what a lot of people here are paying attention to, just because of the kind of severity of it all, is the Bucs game, just because we need to win. Lucky for you guys, already catching your spot. The Jags have done very well this year. We're proud of them.
We're knocking on wood.
Knock on wood everywhere.
Find some wood,
yes.
though. I mean, I have grown up a Jags fan. I have been disappointed so many times in my life, but oh man, I'm proud of them right now.
They are. They're doing fabulous. I grew up, it's funny because I grew up a Miami Dolphins fan growing up in South Florida, then moved up to Orlando, ended up kind of bandwagoning onto the Bucs, and now here we are. And my husband and I moved to town, and they have not had the best season. So I don't want to say I don't want to say we jinxed it, but I kind of feel like we jinxed it a little bit, so that's not great. But it's fine.
No. I am excited, though, to have you guys and for James to come back, because he's talked about how he's a huge Panthers fan.
Oh, my gosh.
And so I know you just said you have that real big game coming up.
I haven't seen him since they beat the Bucs, what was it, last weekend or something like that. And I just know he was sitting there rubbing his hands together, so happy, you know. And I know he's going to come back and rub it in my face when he comes back to work. So he's enjoyed a nice week
Well,
off,
you guys got another chance.
Yes, right. There's still a chance. There's always still a chance. And this weekend is one of those chances, playing the Miami Dolphins. Although, you know, I said the same thing about the Atlanta Falcons because I was in Atlanta before I moved to Tampa. And I was like, oh man, they got the Falcons. Come on. They lost. So, you know, that's how this season's going. But it's fine. It's fine. You know, you win some, you lose some, quite literally. But the forecast in Miami is going to be perfect. So that won't be any kind of shock to the system. Not that it really ever is for the Bucs, right? Because our forecast is usually on par in some way, shape, or form with Miami. They're usually just a little warmer than us, but nothing we can't handle. Mid-60s tomorrow around tailgating hour, around 11 o'clock, because it is a 1 o'clock kickoff tomorrow. Here in the Bay Area, going through the afternoon, it's going to be really comfortable. Temperatures in the mid to upper 70s if you're staying here to watch that game. But here's a closer look at the game if you are heading to Miami. So mid 70s for tailgate. The humidity should stay relatively low, and then near 80 throughout the game. So really nice. Unlike if you are traveling up to Indy, you don't have to worry about the cold quite yet on Sunday. It's going to just be a really nice day, hopefully with a Bucs win. We are just going to cross our fingers on that. Not only that, here at home, we have a Lightning game. The Bolts have been doing pretty well. And so we have a game, the Canadians. Okay, don't look at me like that, Sean. They've done pretty well. Okay, emphasis on pretty well. The Canadians versus the Bolts tomorrow at Benchmark International. That's at 5 o'clock, so nice early game for you. Temperatures in the mid-70s around 5 o'clock, and then we'll drop into the low 60s. So you definitely need a jacket inside the bench I think that's what we have decided we're going to call it. You definitely need one inside there. But as you're leaving the game, probably be a good idea to keep that on because temperatures will drop into the 60s. Yes, I know a lot of people who are visiting town or who are not native Floridians, 60s is nothing to them. But to us, that is a nice chill for just a nice light layer. It just keeps you a little extra cozy. So that's what we have going on in terms of the sports world. Nice weather all around, it seems like, whether you're a Jaguars fan, a Bucks fan, or a Bolts fan. The weather does look pretty good. It's going to cooperate. But, yeah, you definitely want to skip town before all the crazy snow gets out. You want to keep an eye on those flights more than likely because when the snow comes in, you know that can cause some travel delays. We've been seeing that across the country. And I was going to bring in Lee for talking about travel forecasts because we've had a lot of issues in terms of the Northeast. They just got rain and snow and some ice as well. I've been seeing video out of there that's like glazed over cars and everything. I don't know if you've ever tried to open up a door handle after a good ice storm, but it is not easy. Living in Atlanta for a few years, we had quite a few of those. But there is going to be some more tricky weather going into early next week for people, whether they're traveling for football games or just traveling home, like extending their Christmas holiday or I know a lot of people who take vacations to go skiing this time of year. There's going to be a good bit of snow out in the Rockies. Have you ever skied before? Have you ever made your way out west for that?
I went a couple years ago. I only went snowmobiling. I have a back
Fun.
injury that won't allow me to ski, but snowmobiling was so fun.
Oh my gosh, it is wonderful. And they're going to get some nice fresh powder the next couple days, which is wonderful. But here's that weather system you were just talking about up in parts of the Midwest into the Great Lakes region. Sunday afternoon, snow, maybe some more ice for parts of that area. So that could cause some travel trouble. I think people might need to be quite conscious of that coming home if they're traveling up for that Jags game. And then that takes over the eastern seaboard early next week. That's the front that's going to bring us the cooler weather. So definitely want to just put that on everyone's radar, no pun intended, that if they're traveling early next week on the eastern half of the country, definitely got to keep an eye out for some of the rain and the winter weather.
All right, well, Courtney, thank you so much for joining us on this Saturday morning. It was lovely doing this with you.
I know, so fun. We'll do it again soon, I'm sure, as everyone starts taking their vacations. So.
All right, well, I hope you have a wonderful start to your 2026.
Thank you. You as well. Thanks, everyone at home, for joining us.